The rescue. The war had ended, but the galaxy was far from peaceful. Captain Rex Carter flew alone in his old scout ship, drifting through a dark sector known as the Deadline. No one came here anymore. No ships, no signals, nothing but silence, and floating metal from battles long ago. Rex wasn't looking for trouble. He was just doing a routine sweep, checking for forgotten tech or supplies. But something strange blinked on his scanner. A faint life signal. Must be broken, he muttered. But his gut said otherwise. He turned the ship and followed the signal. Soon, a broken alien craft came into view, half buried in a field of space. Debris. It was badly damaged, barely holding together. The signal was coming from inside. Rex suited up, grabbed his med kit, and entered through a small side hatch. The air inside was thin, stale. Emergency lights flickered red. He stepped carefully. Then, he saw her, a woman, tall, strong-looking in damaged armor, slumped against the wall. Her face was pale, lips cracked, breathing shallow. She held a weak grip on a blaster aimed directly at him. "Don't touch me," she whispered. "I'll kill you." Rex raised both hands. "Easy. I'm not here to hurt you. I'm human, but I'm not military, just a scout." Her blaster wobbled in her hand, then dropped. She closed her eyes and collapsed. Rex rushed forward and caught her before she hit the floor. She was burning with fever, clothes torn, armor stained with blood and soot. She hadn't eaten in days. "Hang in there," he said. "You're not dying today." He carried her back to his ship and laid her on the medical bed. The AI scanned her body and gave a warning. Severe dehydration, internal injuries, multiple fractures, unknown alien biology, treat with caution. Rex connected a translator patch to her neck. It would help her understand him once she woke. He started cleaning her wounds, slowly, carefully. She flinched in her sleep but didn't wake. For 2 hours he worked in silence. When she finally opened her eyes, he was sitting nearby, watching. "You're safe," he said softly. "You were dying. I had to help." She looked around, confused, then focused on him. "Where am I?" "On my ship. Name's Rex." "And you?" She hesitated. "Lyra," she said. "Captain Lyra Voss, or I was." Rex raised an eyebrow. That name sounded familiar. "You're from the Kalari Alliance?" She nodded. "War Division. Frontline." That explained the armor, the blaster, and the attitude. "I thought the Kalari vanished after the Battle of Orion Gate," Rex said. "They did," she replied bitterly, "or were wiped out. I don't remember how I got here." He offered her some water and nutrient paste. She took the water slowly, then grabbed the paste like she hadn't eaten in days. "Thank you," she said, voice lower now. Rex smiled. "You're welcome." Later he checked the galactic database. He typed in her name, Captain Lyra Voss, and status, killed in action. He stared at the screen. But she's alive. Something didn't make sense. He returned to her side. She had fallen asleep again. He watched her face, still tense, still ready to fight even in dreams. There were scars on her arms, signs of many battles. But there was also something else, something familiar. He didn't know why, but she felt like someone he had seen before, maybe in a dream. That night, Rex dreamed of her. Not in armor, not bleeding or angry. She was wearing a simple white dress, standing on a hill under a twin-sun sky. She turned and smiled at him. "You found me," she said. He woke up sweating. The image stayed in his mind. The next day, he explored the wrecked alien ship to search for clues. Inside, he found a small storage box, sealed tight. He opened it. Inside was a glowing crystal with strange symbols. It hummed when he touched it. Back on his ship, the AI scanned it. "Unknown artifact. Energy pattern. Not from this timeline." Rex frowned. "What does that mean?" The AI paused. "This object is not from the present. It may be from the future, or a different reality." Rex didn't believe in time travel or destiny, but when he looked back at Lyra, sleeping on the bed, the crystal still glowing in his hand. Something inside him whispered, "This is not a rescue. This is a beginning. The war hero's secret. The war hero's secret." The stars outside Rex's ship were calm, but his mind was anything but. He stared at the glowing crystal sitting on his desk. It hadn't stopped humming since he found it in Lyra's wreck. Its light was soft but pulsing, almost like a heartbeat, and every time he touched it he felt something. A flicker in the back of his mind. A voice he couldn't hear. A memory that wasn't his. Lyra was still resting. Her body had begun healing, but her mind, Rex could tell, was full of shadows. He walked quietly into the medbay. She was sitting up now, staring at the ceiling. "You look better," he said. She nodded without turning. "I remember a little more now." Rex sat beside her. "What do you remember?" She looked at him, eyes sharp. "I was on a mission, secret command. My ship was carrying something powerful, something ancient. We weren't supposed to crash." "Something ancient?" Rex asked. "You mean the crystal?" She stared at him in surprise. "You found it?" "Yes, it's strange. My AI says it's not from this time, maybe even from the future." Lyra went silent. Then she whispered, "That's what they told us before we left." Rex leaned in. "Who's they?" She looked into his eyes. "The Kalari elders. They said the war was only the surface. Beneath it, something deeper was happening. A pattern. A design. They believed time could fold. And that a bond between two warriors could rewrite destiny." Rex blinked. "A bond? What kind of bond?" She hesitated, then looked away. "A life bond. A chosen pair. One from the stars, one from Earth. Together they were meant to stop the darkness coming after the war." "That sounds like a myth," Rex said. Lyra didn't smile. "Maybe, but myths are often true, in ways we don't understand." Stood up, trying to shake off the chill in his spine. "Why were you chosen?" "I don't know," she said. "I never asked to be. I just followed orders. But something went wrong. My memory after launch is a blur. I only remember flames." "Then you, and what about me?" he asked. "You were there," she said quietly. "In my dream, in my vision, even before I met you." That night, the ship AI interrupted Rex's sleep. "Captain, incoming data from Alliance archives. Lyra Voss files decrypted." Rex sat up. "Display." Lines of old reports appeared, videos, voice logs. One file stood out, Project Echo link. Rex opened it. A voice began playing. It was Lyra's. "This is Captain Voss, mission log 03. We've entered fold space. Coordinates unknown. Artifact stable. The elders say it's a key, not just to peace, but to time itself. My partner, he's not here yet. But they say I'll know him when I see him." Rex froze. "Partner?" He clicked another log. "If the artifact works, time will collapse and rebuild. And when it does, I'll be bound to him. We'll change everything. Or die trying." The next day, Rex asked her directly, "Who was your partner supposed to be?" Lyra looked tired. "They never told me. I assumed it would be one of our own. But you said you saw me." "I didn't believe it," she said. "Not until you touched the crystal. Not until I saw your face and remembered it from the visions." They stared at each other. "Rex," she said slowly, "I think we were meant to find each other. Not by chance. By design." A sudden alarm echoed through the ship. The AI spoke urgently. "Unidentified ship approaching, no response to hails, armaments detected." Rex jumped into the pilot's chair. The enemy ship was fast and closing in. Lyra stood behind him. "It's them, the ones who shot me down," Rex cursed. "Why are they after you?" "They want the crystal. They want to stop the bond. If we join, they lose control." "Great," Rex muttered. "And now they're here." The enemy fired. The ship rocked. Rex spun into evasive mode, firing back. They're too strong, he said. Lyra stepped forward. Let me fight. You're still healing. I'm stronger than I look. Rex gave her the co-pilot seat. She grabbed the guns and let loose. Together, they blasted 2 of the enemy's drones, but more came. We can't outrun them, Rex said. We need help. Lyra looked at the crystal. There's a place, a temple, hidden in the stars. That's where I was going before I crashed. The bond. It must be completed there. How do we get there? She placed her hand on the crystal. It glowed brighter, and suddenly a map appeared. Holographic, ancient, beautiful. This is the path, she said. But once we go, we can't turn back. Rex looked at her. Then let's go. As they jumped into hyperspace, the enemy ship fired a final shot. It missed, but on their screen something else appeared. A message. Not from the enemy. Not from the Kalari. Something older. It said, "The warrior has awakened. The bond has begun, but the test is yet to come." Rex looked at Lyra. What test? She didn't answer, but her hand found his. And somewhere, in the stars, something very old was watching. Enemies awake. The jump to hyperspace was rough. Rex gripped the controls tightly as the ship trembled. The star map glowing from the crystal pulsed in strange patterns, almost guiding the ship on its own. He wasn't flying anymore. It was as if the ship wanted to reach the temple. Beside him, Lyra sat quietly. Her face was hard to read, focused, distant, and maybe scared. He hadn't seen fear in her eyes before. You okay? He asked. She nodded slowly. No, but we keep going. They dropped out of hyperspace near a broken moon. Pieces of it floated in space like frozen tears. In the distance, a dark planet rotated slowly, hidden behind electric storms and gas clouds. The map pointed toward it. That's the place, Lyra said. Kalari archives called it Velshower. The Temple of Echoes is deep beneath the surface. Rex checked his radar. Doesn't look welcoming. It's not, she replied. It's protected by the old ones. Before Rex could ask what, that meant the ship's alarm screamed. Warning. Multiple ships detected, cloaked. Rex cursed. We've been followed. He pulled the ship down, diving through the clouds toward the planet's surface. Lightning crashed around them. Turbulence shook the ship violently. Behind them, black ships appeared, silent, sleek, deadly. Lyra's voice was cold. Shadow. Fleet. They serve no flag. Only power. Mercenaries? Rex asked. No. Worse. They're hunters of fate. The chase began. Enemy ships fired plasma bolts, slicing through the clouds. Rex spun and rolled, dodging each shot. Lyra manned, the rear guns firing back with deadly aim. She hit one ship. It exploded, but 2 more came. They won't stop, she said. They've been waiting for this mission to fail. Too bad, Rex growled. Not today. He spotted a narrow canyon up ahead. Hold on, he shouted, and dove the ship, straight into it. The canyon was tight, walls of black rock rising high on each side. The enemy ships hesitated, then followed. One of them clipped the wall and exploded. Another lost control and vanished behind them. But the largest ship, their leader, stayed right behind. Suddenly, Lyra screamed. The crystal! It had started shaking, its light turning deep red. Rex looked back. What's happening? It's reacting to something near. Then, the ship's AI spoke in a voice Rex had never heard before. Guardian protocol awakened. Echo bond confirmed. Destination unlocked. The ship changed direction on its own. It dove downward past the rocks through a crack in the ground that opened like a mouth. The enemy ship followed, but too late. The crack closed behind them. They were inside a massive underground cavern. It glowed with strange blue light. Carvings covered the walls. Images of stars, wars, and 2 figures standing hand in hand at the center. A human and a Kalari. Lyra stepped out of her seat, stunned. This is it, the temple. They left the ship and walked into the ruins. The ground was smooth, Cold. Everything echoed softly like whispers from the past. Strange machines lined the walls, long dead but humming faintly as the crystal passed by. As they reached the center, a large platform lit up. Symbols formed around it. Rex didn't understand them, but Lyra did. It says, "The bond is not only survival, it is sacrifice." Rex frowned. Sacrifice? Before she could answer, a voice rang, out across the chamber. "So you made it." They turned. A man stepped from the shadows, tall in dark armor. A human. Lyra's eyes narrowed. General Kale. Rex knew that name. Kale was once a hero of Earth's fleet. He had disappeared years ago. "You were behind the Shadow Fleet," Rex said. Kale smiled. "Of course, and I'm here to stop this mistake before it's too late." "You call peace a mistake?" Lyra asked. He looked at her with cold eyes. "Peace? There is no peace, only power. This bond, this ancient myth, it threatens everything we built. The Kalari should stay broken, and humans should rule alone." Rex stepped forward. "That bond is stronger than your fear." Kale raised a device. "Then let's see if it survives this." He pressed a button. The ground shook violently. Old machines awakened. Giant guardians made of stone and steel, rising from the walls. "Run!" Lyra shouted. They sprinted back to the ship as the guardians opened fire. The temple began to collapse. But before they could reach the exit, Kale blocked their path again, blaster raised. "You don't understand, boy," he said to Rex. "She's not your partner. She's your prison." He fired. The shot hit Rex in the chest and bounced off. The crystal in his pocket had absorbed it. Kale froze. "Impossible." Rex pulled the crystal out. It was glowing white now. Blinding. Lyra reached for his hand. "The bond is complete." Their eyes met. The light exploded outward, sending Kale flying. The guardians froze, then silence. They stood alone in the center of the ruined temple. The carvings on the wall had changed. Now they showed a new scene. Rex and Lyra standing side by side, facing a shadow in the distance, a war still to come. Lyra turned to Rex. "That was just the first test. There's more ahead." "What kind of war is coming?" he asked. She shook her head. "I don't know, but the bond between it's not just emotional, it's cosmic. Chosen by the universe itself." Rex looked down at his chest. The crystal had melted into his skin, leaving a mark like a star. "So we're connected now?" "More than connected," she said. "We're one." Outside, the storm had stopped. The sky was clear, but above them in the blackness of space, a massive shadow moved. A ship, no, a fortress, slowly turned its eye toward Velshar. Watching, waiting. The temple of fate outside, the stars had gone quiet, but inside Rex's heart, a storm had begun. He stood at the edge of the shattered temple platform, staring at the glowing mark on his chest. It wasn't burning, but he could feel it, like something alive beneath his skin. A piece of the universe itself had chosen him. Lyra watched him silently. Her expression had changed, no longer guarded, no longer angry, but also not at peace. There was fear in her eyes. "That crystal," Rex said, his voice low. "It became part of me." Lyra nodded. "It's the proof. The bond is complete. But now, the true path begins." He turned toward her. "What does that mean, Lyra?" "No more half answers. No more secrets." She took a deep breath and looked at the ancient carvings surrounding them. "This temple was not made by my people, not by yours either," she said. "It was built by something older, a race we call the Shavalin, long gone, maybe extinct, or maybe still watching." "The Shavalin?" Rex repeated. "They believe time was not a straight road," she explained, "but a spiral, a loop. And inside that loop certain souls repeat, meet again, live again, fight again." Rex frowned. Reincarnation? More than that. Echoes. They called it the cycle of binding. Some are chosen to break it, to end the war that never truly ends. And we're those people? She nodded. We are their echo, their final attempt. They moved deeper into the ruins. The air grew colder, heavier, as if the walls were holding in the weight of forgotten galaxies. Ahead, an enormous stone door stood covered in silver vines and alien runes. The moment Rex stepped near it, the vines pulled back and the door opened on its own. Inside was a circular chamber. In the center, a round stone table. Floating above it, a hologram of the galaxy. Dozens of lights blinked in patterns, forming a shape, a spiral. This is the map of the cycle, Lyra said. Each light a failed timeline, a bond that didn't survive. Rex stared at the lights. Hundreds were dark, only one still glowed. Ours, he whispered. Then a voice filled the room, not spoken out. Loud but echoing directly in their minds. You have reached the core. The cycle nears its end. The Watchers await your choice. Rex stumbled back. What the hell was that? Lyra was calm. A memory, left behind by the Chevalan, to guide those who complete the bond. Rex looked again at the map. One dark region began to glow red. The light pulsed in slow, steady beats. That's not a star system, he said. That's moving. Lyra's eyes narrowed. It's the Void Throne, the real enemy. Rex felt a chill go through his entire body. The Shadow Fleet? He asked. They serve it, she said. But they don't understand it. The Void Throne is not a person or even a group. It's a force, a mind born in the silence between galaxies, and it feeds on fear, conflict, war, so it keeps the galaxy in chaos, forever. Yes, and it fears the bond, because if two chosen souls unite across blood, across race, across time, it can't control them. Rex clenched his fists. Then we fight it. Lyra gave a bitter smile. That's what every bonded pair said, before they failed. Suddenly the room trembled. A deep rumble echoed through the walls. The hologram blinked, and a sharp tone filled the air. Incoming ship detected, the AI warned. Stealth class, human signature. Rex pulled up the screen. It was Kale. Somehow he had survived. He's coming back, Rex said. He won't stop. Lyra stepped forward. We can't kill him yet. Rex turned to her. Why not? Because he's carrying part of the throne's shadow, she said quietly. If we destroy him now, it may pass into someone else. We need to draw it out. Rex stared at her. How do you know all this? She didn't answer immediately. Then she said, because I've lived this before. Rex froze. What? Lyra turned toward him. In another loop, another version of this war, I was bonded to someone else. But we failed. I died. He forgot. But this time, I remembered pieces. You remembered me? She nodded. You were the one who didn't give up, the one who found me again. A silence passed between them, heavy and full of meaning. I don't know what we're supposed to become, Rex said, his voice softer now. But I'm here. With you. I won't. She looked at him. Then hold my hand, she said. We finish what we started. As Kale's ship landed outside, the temple lit up. Old machines powered on. Energy fields formed around the ruins. Kale stepped into the main corridor, alone, his armor glowing black now. His eyes were not human anymore. The void had touched him. You think you can hide in history's dust? Kale's voice echoed through the halls. I am the future. You are only its bones. Rex stepped into view. Then let's bury you first. The final chamber responded to their presence. Walls peeled back, revealing rows of armor, ancient suits forged for bonded pairs. One side shaped for a Kalari, the other for a human. Rex and Lyra each stepped forward. As they touched the armor, it activated. Fused to their bodies, not heavy but full of energy. The bond between them burned brighter than ever. Cale entered the room. His own armor reshaped itself, more monster than man now. His hands crackled with void fire. "You can't win," he hissed. "You're just a story from a dying race." Lyra raised her hand. "Then let this story end you." The battle began. Cale charged, his power ripping into the walls. Rex and Lyra moved as one, fighting not like two soldiers but like one soul. They struck, blocked, countered. Every move mirrored, every thought shared. Cale screamed in rage. "You were never meant to succeed," Lyra answered. "Then maybe we were never meant to follow the rules." With a final blast, they combined their energy, light and fire, and struck Cale directly in the chest. His armor cracked. The void screamed. And then, silence. Cale collapsed. The shadow left his body, fleeing into the sky like black smoke. Gone. For now. Rex dropped to one knee, breathing hard. Lyra knelt beside him. The galaxy hologram appeared again. The spiral stopped spinning. The map blinked once. A new light appeared. Future. For the first time in thousands of years, the cycle had changed. The betrayal. Silence. Not the silence of peace, but the silence after a scream. Rex stood at the temple's entrance, watching the ashes of Cale's shadow fade into the stars. The winds of Velshar were still now. The crystal mark on his chest was no longer glowing, but he could still feel its rhythm, beating quietly with Lyra's. Beside him, she looked at the horizon, her face calm, but her hands shaking slightly. "It's over," Rex said. Lyra shook her head. "No, it's only begun." They left the ruined temple behind and returned to Rex's ship. The systems were still damaged, but the AI had already begun auto-repair. "Coordinates?" the AI asked. Lyra replied before Rex could speak. "Take us to Unity Outpost 9. Rex looked at her. "That's on the border, a human-controlled zone." She nodded. "And it's where we'll find answers and danger." Unity Outpost 9 was once a battlefield. Now it was a shining symbol of the fragile peace treaty between surviving human fleets and former Kalari resistance. Soldiers, diplomats, engineers, all working side by side but with uneasy smiles. Rex hadn't been here in years. Not since his unit was disbanded. The moment their ship entered orbit, security hailed them. "Unidentified vessel. Transmit ID. Rex." Keyed in his old credentials. Silence. Then, "Captain Rex Carter. Report immediately to command deck." Lyra raised an eyebrow. "They didn't shoot us." "That's a good sign." Rex smirked. "You haven't met command." They were escorted in by two young officers. Both stared at Lyra's Kalari armor with nervous eyes. At the command deck, they were met by a familiar face. Commander Thorne. Rex froze. "You're alive?" Thorne smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. "Didn't expect to see you, Carter. Last I heard, you went rogue." "I did," Rex said. "And it saved her life." He nodded at Lyra, who stood tall and quiet. Thorne stepped forward. "You brought a Kalari general to a human outpost?" "She's not the enemy anymore," Rex said. "She never was," Lyra added. Thorne's eyes narrowed. "That's not what our records say." Rex handed him a copy of the data from the Temple of Echoes. The bond records, the Chevalin message, the galaxy map. Thorne skimmed through it. His face changed. "You're saying the war was manipulated by a void entity? That this bond, this thing between you two, is some kind of key to stopping it?" "Yes," Rex said. "And we've already faced it. We survived." Thorne was quiet for a moment. Then he nodded. "We'll need time to study this. For now, you're under watch. Stay in guest quarters. Don't leave." Their room was small, cold, and full of cameras. But for the first time in days, Rex and Lyra had a moment alone. They sat side by side, silently. Finally, Rex asked, "Do you trust him?" Lyra shook her head. "Not with my life." "Same." They didn't speak for a while after that, but they didn't need to. That night, someone knocked on their door. It was Mira, an old friend from Rex's unit. She had fought beside him in the first battle of Orion Gate. "Rex," she said softly, eyes wide. "You need to listen to me. You're in danger." He pulled her inside. "What's going on?" he asked. "They're planning to separate you two," she whispered. "They don't believe the bond. They think Lyra is controlling your mind." Lyra stood angry. "Typical." Rex looked at Mira. "Thorn?" Mira nodded. "And others. High Command doesn't trust prophecy. They think you've been compromised." Rex clenched his fists. "So what now?" "I'll help you escape," Mira said, "but you need to leave tonight." They moved through back halls, avoiding the main guards. Rex remembered every corridor, every shortcut. Lyra followed quietly, her eyes scanning every shadow. But just as they reached the hangar, the alarms blared. "Attention! Security breach!" "In Bay 4! Run!" Mira shouted, but it was too late. The door ahead slammed shut. From behind them, Thorn stepped out, flanked by soldiers with rifles raised. "You really thought we wouldn't know?" he said coldly. "Mira's on our side," Rex growled. Thorn smiled. "She was, until we reminded her of her loyalty." Rex turned to Mira. She looked away. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "They threatened my family." Rex stepped in front. "Of Lyra. You'll have to kill me to get to her." Thorn lowered his weapon. "No, Rex. We're not monsters. We just need to separate you. Break the bond." "You don't understand what you're doing," Lyra said. "I understand more than you think," Thorn replied. "This bond, this so-called destiny, it makes you unpredictable, it makes you dangerous." He turned to Rex. "You were a good soldier once. You could be again." Rex's answer was a punch to Thorn's face. The fight broke out fast. Rex and Lyra moved together, like one body, dodging bullets, disarming guards. Rex knocked out 2 soldiers. Lyra took a stun shot but kept moving. They reached the shuttle bay, bleeding but alive. As the bay doors opened, Mira stood in front of the ship. She held a gun. "Don't make me do this," she said. Rex stepped forward. "You were my family, Mira. You saved me more times than I can count." Tears ran down her face. "I don't want to lose you," she whispered. "You already have," Lyra said, and Mira stepped aside. They escaped. Barely. As the stars stretched around them in hyperspace, Rex sat down, shaking. Lyra sat beside him, wrapping her hand over his. "They're afraid," she said softly. "I know," he replied. She looked at him. "But you're not." He smiled faintly. "Not when you're with me." But deep inside the Unity outpost, Thorn watched the recording again, not of the escape, but of Lyra's eyes glowing briefly, only for a second, when Rex was injured during the fight. He zoomed in, slowed the frames. Her eyes flickered with void light. He turned to his assistant. "Contact the inner circle, I was wrong." "Sir?" Thorn whispered. "She's not the danger. He is. United we stand." The stars stretched like rivers of light as Rex's ship burst out of hyperspace. Beside him, Lyra sat in silence, watching the approaching system on the screen. Her hand hovered over the glowing mark on her wrist. The Twin 2, the one Rex now carried. The bond between them had never felt stronger or more dangerous. "Coordinates match," the ship's AI said. "Destination, Bastion's Hollow." Rex narrowed his eyes. "Last time I heard that name, it was a myth. A hidden base for outcasts and rebels." "Not a myth," Lyra said. "I've been there once, long ago. It's where the forgotten go to remember who they really are." Bastion's Hollow was no planet. It was a shattered moon, its core hollowed out, the inside rebuilt into a massive rebel colony. Ships of every kind docked along the crust. Kalari war cruisers, human stealth rigs, even old mining ships repurposed for defense. As Rex's ship approached, no one hailed them, but every cannon pointed their way. I think they're expecting us, Rex muttered. Lyra didn't smile. They always expect trouble. Inside the hollow, they were greeted by a trio of strange figures. One wore ancient Kalari robes. The second was a human cyborg with silver eyes. The third, a child, no more than 12, dressed in old soldier gear. Lyra bowed slightly. The robed Kalari stepped forward. You bring the Echo Bond. Rex nodded. We didn't come to start a war. No, said the cyborg, but one follows you anyway. They led Rex and Lyra into a massive stone hall carved into the moon's heart. Hundreds of people, alien and human, watched them from balconies above. A voice boomed from the center. We welcome the bonded pair and question their purpose. A man stepped into view, tall, scarred, missing one arm. His voice carried power, his presence even more. He was General Rain Solis, the founder of Bastion's Hollow. Rex stepped forward. We need help. Rain stared at him. The last time I helped a Carter, my fleet was destroyed. That was your brother. Rex froze. My brother died in the war, he said. Rain's eyes burned. He died because he trusted a lie. Later, in private chambers, Rain revealed the truth. Your brother, Cale Carter, came here once. He carried a crystal just like yours. He said he had bonded, that he would bring peace. Rex sat down slowly. Cale said he was bonded. Rain nodded. But the bond was false, twisted. We didn't know until it was too late. Lyra understood. The void used him. It made a shadow bond, one that looks like ours but poisons everything it touches. Rain looked at Rex. So now you want my help? Why should I believe you're any different? Rex didn't speak. He opened his shirt, revealing the mark. Still, glowing with the light of the true bond. Rain stared at it and then nodded. Over the next days, Bastion's Hollow came alive. Old alliances were reforged. Kalari engineers and human tacticians worked side by side. Plans were drawn on glowing maps. A secret message had been intercepted, one that chilled them all. The Void Throne was preparing to rise. An ancient fortress, long thought lost, was reawakening. In the dark sector of space known as Nex Umbra, the Shadow Fleet was converging there. So was something else, something that hadn't moved in centuries. A living mind, Lyra whispered. Older than the war, older than the stars. Rain pointed to the map. If the throne rises, it will send out a pulse that binds all minds to its will. No more free thought, no more choices, just control. We stop it at the source, Rex said. Rain's eyes narrowed. It won't be easy. Good, Rex replied. I'm tired of easy. But as they prepared for war, something else began to change. The bond between Rex and Lyra was no longer just emotional. It became psychic. They could hear each other's thoughts, see flashes of each other's memories. Late at night, Rex saw Lyra's dream. She stood on a battlefield covered in blood. Not human blood, not Kalari, her own. He saw her fall, alone, crying for help. No one came. And then, her voice in his mind. This time, you did come. But not everyone in Bastion's Hollow believed in them. Some whispered they were cursed. Some believed they carried the throne's infection. And one planned to prove it. His name was Director Vec, a former spy from Earth's intelligence network. Cold, brilliant, dangerous. He had seen the data from Unity Outpost, the frame-by-frame video of Lyra's glowing eyes during the fight. It was void energy, he told Rain. She's infected. Rain shook his head. She saved this place. Vec smiled. So did Cale, once. Vec began building a trap. He hacked into the psychic scanners. He fed lies into the defense grid, and worst of all, he unlocked an ancient beacon buried in Bastion's Hollow. One built long ago by the Chauvelin, a beacon meant to test bonded pairs, and if they failed, to destroy them. The night before the assault on Nex Umbra, Rex and Lyra were summoned to the central chamber. Rain stood alone, hands behind his back. "Before we go to war," he said, "there's something you must face." The floor opened. Beneath them, they fell. They awoke in a strange chamber, walls of glass and fire, shadows dancing across mirrors. "What is this place?" Rex asked. Lyra didn't answer. She was staring at her reflection. It was changing. Her eyes turned black. Her mouth curled into a cruel smile. It wasn't her. It was the void inside her. Suddenly, Rex's reflection turned too, eyes glowing white-hot, hands dripping with light. The room wasn't testing them. It was separating them. "You are not one," a voice whispered. "You are two. And two is weak." Rex shouted, "No, she's part of me." But the mirrors split them, walls rising between them. The bond began to flicker. Lyra clutched her chest. "Rex, I can't feel you." The reflections whispered, "Let go. Forget him. He is only pain." She fell to her knees. And in that moment, she saw Kyle, her past bond. He walked from the mirror, smiling. "You let me die," he said. Tears welled in her eyes. "I tried," she whispered. "I tried to save you." Across the chamber, Rex saw someone too, his father, dead long ago in the war. "You should have stayed a soldier," his father said. "You're not a savior. You're a mistake." Rex closed his eyes. And then, through the pain, he heard Lyra's voice, in his mind, weak, fading. "I'm still here." He reached out, not with hands, but with his heart. He thought of every moment he saw her suffer, every time she protected him, every time she made him stronger. He whispered, "You're not alone anymore." The mark on his chest lit up. So did hers. The mirrors cracked, then shattered. The chamber exploded in light. They stood in the middle, together again. The test was passed. Ryan stood above, watching through the glass. Vec was beside him. "They survived," Ryan said. "They shouldn't have," Vec muttered. Ryan turned to him coldly. "Then maybe you were wrong." And for the first time in years, Ryan smiled. Future bride revealed darkness. Not empty, silent darkness, one but a living one. A pulse echoed through deep space. A low, ancient sound like a whisper from the void. It came from the Nex Umbra, the dark sector beyond all maps. And at its center, a fortress rose. It wasn't built. It had grown. Black stone, hollow spires, shifting shapes that defied physics. The void throne had awakened. Above it hovered a ring of warships, Kalari traitors, human extremists, shadow-born mercenaries, all bound by the throne's signal. And deep inside, a voice spoke. One voice, thousands of tongues. The mind behind the war. The bond lives. Break it. Meanwhile, Rex and Lyra stood on the bridge of Unity Blade, the flagship of Bastion's hollow fleet. Around them, hundreds of ships prepared for war. But inside Rex's chest, the real battle had already begun. The bond mark burned hotter each day. Not pain, pressure. As if something inside him was waking up. Something old. Lyra stood by the window, silent. She hadn't spoken much since the trial chamber. But Rex could feel her. Even in silence, they were connected. "Are you afraid?" he asked. She looked at him. "I was. Before you." The fleet moved. As it reached the edge of Nex Umbra, the stars themselves began to vanish, swallowed by shadows that bled into space like smoke. And then, the throne responded. A massive pulse spread outward, disabling dozens of ships, frying electronics, turning AI into ash. The Unity Blade shook violently. "Shields down," the AI called out. "Gravity warping," said the pilot. "We're being pulled in." Rand's voice echoed across the comms. "Stay the course. The throne wants fear. We give it fury." The fleet entered the dark sector. Everything changed. Light bent the wrong way. Time slowed. Some crew whispered, voices in their ears, voices of lost lovers, dead parents, old regrets. The throne wasn't just attacking their bodies, it was attacking their souls. At the core of it all stood a bridge of black glass, leading into the heart of the fortress. Rex and Lyra landed first. Only bonded pairs could enter the core. Any others would lose their minds. Rex turned to Rayan, who stayed behind with the fleet. Rayan said, "If you fail, we all fall." Rex nodded. "Then we don't fail." The entrance opened like a mouth. They stepped inside. It wasn't a throne. It was a womb of darkness, pillars of bone, rivers of data flowing like blood, machines breathing like lungs, and in the center, a single shape, a woman, floating. Eyes closed, hair of stars, and as Lyra approached her, the woman opened her eyes. They were hers. Not similar, identical. Rex stepped back. "What is this?" he whispered. Lyra's voice was shaking. "It's me," the woman spoke, but not aloud. She spoke in their minds. "I am the first Lyra, the one who failed." Rex stared in disbelief. "You're from the original bond?" She nodded slowly. "I bonded with Kale. We thought we could save the galaxy. We were wrong. The throne consumed him. And I let it use me to stay alive." Lyra took a step forward. "You sent the visions, the dreams." "I did," the first Lyra said. "I broke the cycle, so I created another. I called to myself, across time. To you." Lyra blinked. "Why me?" "Because you are me," the voice whispered. "But you made a better choice." Her eyes turned to Rex. "You chose him." The walls around them began to shake. The throne was waking fully now. A deep voice echoed, "Break the bond, or burn with it." Suddenly pain shot through Rex's chest. He fell to his knees. The mark was glowing bright red now. Lyra screamed, his name rushing to him. The first Lyra floated forward. "The bond is too strong, it threatens the throne. So it will break you from the inside." "There must be a way," Lyra said. "There is," said the first Lyra. "A final ceremony, a binding older than time." She raised her hand. A circle formed around them, symbols carved in starlight, floating rings, 2 swords made of crystal. "Complete the vow, speak the ancient words, and truly become one." Rex gasped, rising slowly. "Then let's do it." They stepped into the circle. Lyra looked into his eyes. "I saw you in a vision, before I ever knew your name. Before I was even born in this life. You were there?" Rex smiled. "You were always more than a soldier to me. You were the reason I believed again." They raised the crystal swords. The symbols lit up. And then, they spoke the vow together. "From spark to flame, from dusk to dawn, I choose you across all time. My bond is yours. My strength is ours. We rise together, or fall as one." The swords vanished, the light exploded, and the mark on their chests melted into their hearts, no longer separate. One. The throne screamed, walls cracked, voices wept in rage. The first Lyra smiled. "You've done it. The true bond is complete." And then, she faded. Peacefully, like a candle in the wind. But outside, chaos reigned. The throne had opened. It was sending a final pulse, a signal to dominate every mind in the galaxy. Rayan's voice crackled over the comms. "We can't hold. They're everywhere." Lyra looked at Rex. "We have to stop the signal." "How?" She walked to the throne's core. "If I enter it, if I merge with it, I can rewrite it." "No," Rex said. "You'll die." "Not if we go together," she whispered. They stepped forward. Rex took her hand, and together, they walked into the light. The throne swallowed them whole. Silence. Then, a spark. One light, then another, and another. Across the galaxy, the signal stopped. The Shadow Fleet ships powered down. People everywhere felt something. Warm. Hope. A bond. Not of chains, but of choice. On the battlefield, Rain whispered, "They did it." Days passed. The throne was gone. Bastion's hollow stood stronger than ever, but there was no sign of Rex or Lyra, only a field of stars where Nex Umbra used to be, and two lights orbiting each other, always together. Years later, a child in Kalari, Robe sits on a hill under a twin-sun sky. She looks up at the stars. Beside her, a man reads an old storybook. He smiles and whispers, "They rescued each other and saved all of us."